Thanks, Eamon. Now we have John O'Dea back from Ballypicus, who will explain about the Lisnagowan Derry 4 Ballymadoff connection.
Thanks very much. It's going to be hard to follow them to acts. They're very well used to the microphone, so I'll do my best anyway. So I'll just start just welcome everybody here tonight, and especially the Carroll family there from Limerick and Cork and wherever the extended Carroll family are living. And it's great to see such a turnout for Tom, because I think this man deserves the turnout that he's getting tonight, because this is a labour of love of Tom's over many years, and I think tonight is all about one man, and that's Tom Carroll, because I think there's an old saying, there's a jewel in the crown everywhere, and I suppose the jewel in the crown of the day Scully extended family is Tom Carroll, because he has laid it there in writing for us all to enjoy, and all our ancestors to look upon in years to come if they want to trace our records and who we were and what we did and all that. So, full of us, Tom Carroll. So, just to tell you who Tom Carroll is, because that question has been asked a good few times there lately. Who is this Tom Carroll? So, this Tom Carroll is my first cousin. His mother was Margaret O'Dea, or better known maybe as Peg. And Peg, or Margaret, was a sister to my father, and they were born, and well, some of them were, Edward O'Dea is our grandfather that we share, and Edward moved from Ballyrowan up to Ballymallick, and his wife was Mary McAvoy, who was from locally Ballybeg there near Spring Creamery, and they started their family below in Ballymallick, and they had 14 kids altogether, but about 7 or 8 of them was born in Ballymallick, and then they built a house in Derry 4, or because of Tom's research and all that, we now know it's called actually Lisnagowan. But they went on anyway to rear 14 children in total anyway, and used to be an old great saying that there was 7 days in the week, but it was 14 in Derry 4. So I just wonder how many days in Scully's is went around tonight. but anyhow, because of Tom's love, and well, it really started with his mother, because like Tom's mother and father were definitely visitors to my parents' family every year, and without fail they arrived sometime in August, certainly before school opened anyhow. And we used to love to see him come, because we were young at that time, and if we saw Tom's mother and father arriving, that means we had a few hours off. There was no work for at least 2 or 3 hours that day. So it was great to see him arriving, and then as time moved on, like I suppose like in the late 80s, like in the early 90s, our parents and Tom's parents passed away, but Tom continued to make the journey up to Laois and continue the tradition of his mother and father by visiting definitely annually, and possibly any time with a certain family function or occasion, and unfortunately funerals and whatever it was, like Tom always made a trip up for. So the one thing that kind of struck me about Tom Carroll as a young lad was that my father was steeped in kind of interest in history and stuff like that. And even at a young age, I could notice Tom having these very intense conversations with my father, like, you know. So I think even at that stage, Tom had to grow for where we are tonight, like, you know. But I suppose it was only really then after the passing of my brother Ned that I kind of became into the picture in Tom's research, because I think up to that, like, Ned would have been assisting Tom, like, in kind of finding bits of information and that was relevant to his project that is now contained in this great book. But I suppose Ned is 10 years gone now, so I suppose it was maybe about 6 months after Ned's passing that I became involved, and next thing, Tom kind of maybe something that relevant maybe to the Ballypicus, Lisnagowan area, like, that was relevant to what he was researching. And he was kind of looking for stuff that I suppose even Dr. Google wouldn't be able to give him, like, you know. So that's where maybe I came in and I made contacts with different people that I thought might be able to give us the information that was needed to kind of make Tom's kind of investigations come like what he wanted to go into the book and all that. So like as a result of that, like we visited many different houses, like in the kind of Spink, even out around Shanahoe and back in around Avaleaks and all that, like, and I actually began to look forward to it because I used to enjoy the kind of listening to the stories and the questions, and even there was recordings made and everything, like, you know, and it was nearly enjoyable for me, like from kind of looking forward to it, and then the actual day itself, like, and then maybe being asked questions about it after, like, you know. But like in the whole context of the book, like, it was a very small thing, like, you know, and like the research that Tom put in that book, like the little bit that I contributed to it was very small. And I think, like, you know, when people get around to looking at the content of the book, like, they will say, like, this is some man for one man, like, you know, because, like, there has many man hours gone into it, like, you know, and it's kind of unknown. I'd say only Tom himself knows what it took to put that together. But all I can say, Tom, is, like, I look forward to assisting you for the journey that it took while I was involved. I most certainly look forward to the few trips down to Limerick, because there was always a lovely welcome in the Carol House in Limerick, and there was also a lovely cup of tea and a sandwich and a lovely apple tart by Paul in there, so. And in fairness to Pauline, she was most receptive and she always had a good smile on her face, but Kilkenny did win a lot of All Ireland during that time.
Alright, it's all Limerick now.
But anyhow, I must say, like, that Tom Carroll, I enjoyed helping you the little bit I did, and I just want to thank all the people out there that helped me to help Tom to make tonight what it is tonight. And like, so I'm not going to start naming anybody, because unfortunately some of the people that we met are no longer with us, they're passed away. I hope maybe the representatives are here tonight, but like, to all the people that helped me to help Tom Carroll, I wish to thank you very much and congratulate Tom, and I hope you have a great night.
Anish Togling, Donna McKay, a Horsdale County Leitrim. Please welcome Donna McKay from County Leitrim, who is a cousin of Tom's and who will now say a couple of vocal.
All I can say is, having read the book, I'm overwhelmed completely, and I was going to pick out a certain section and speak about it, but after reading it, one section is better than the other, so I wasn't able to come down on any particular side. But what I want to say is, to add in my penny worth, if I can only do that, and the point is, there's no point in me commenting on the book. The book stands on its own. So I went to school in St. Mary's College in Port Tisha by the Irish Christian Brothers, and they taught us love of the language and love of the country and everything Irish. So from that, they encouraged us to use the Irish form of our name. So from that on, we used the form Mach A, but in fact we are from around here called Keys, and all the Keys from our household use the form Mach A. So just to honour the brothers and to thank them very much for their hard work, I would like to say a couple of fucking Australia le dahol. A cordja Tom an bródúil fad le an sucht an nucht agus an cura a thug Tom dum agus má tan galéir le an seo nucht a scuile an lór útach starúil a dahúil seo. Cuireann sé cuimhne mé an dáin sin, an dáin cáiliúil sin Cillé Dáin. Táis go an dáin sin nach bhfuil. An dis tacht an airí beag an nó ag dul chun sína is tar éis na féile bríide ar dói mé mar heol. Ach an lína deireanach sa dáin sin tá sé anfalúnach very appropriate a ggóil a níthe a nucht an. Agus a lína sin ná dá memse imhasamh I gceart dá mar gcuine de móg ma éistím is féin a rís óg. Now ní dólam go I móg ma éistím ach tám imhasamh a nucht I balla aha an rána I measc má daoine féin I gceart dá mar gcuine agus tá an bhródúil le sin. Friends, Accordia, the majority of people here tonight are descendants of or descendants from families that lived hereabouts at the time Tom has written about. Now that makes us all, as we say in Irish, muintir, co-phobal, or if you want to call it, Corsina, we're all community. And as the poet said in the poem, the Shashu Egarta Moguina, standing in the very heart of my community, I tell you this much, it's very proud indeed. Now you might ask, how am I standing in the heart of my own community, Egarta Moguina, standing here, and as the song around here says, standing with songs and cheer and Scully's beer right here in Ballaroo. It happened that Tom gave me a shout one day and he said to me, would I like to visit some of the households and the house, the area anyway, associated with the Keys family that he had written about. And I said, Tom, thank you very much. And I met Tom and my good Van Kayla Sheena and my son Brian met Tom, and he introduced us to a great man called John O'Day, and a cousin of his, I believe he said. And John, as you know, has great local knowledge. And John brought us to the hillside at Lisnagommon. And with Cullinan Mountain, as you know very well, in the north, overlooking the valley of the Owen Beg, John pointed out to me and to us where my father was born and where the Keys family farmed at Greatness Mutton. I believe the Grass out there now, I think. But down under us was Boulebeg, where my grandmother was born, and the Cullen family farmed. The Kennedys, I think, are there now. And we looked on beyond Spink and beyond to Knockbawn, and even further onto the Swan, where my Uncle John Keys worked all his life at Fleming. We moved around and we saw Knockchapel, where a few years ago, as you know, there were some moving statues. But however, my father was baptized in Knockchapel. All his family made the First Holy Communion, they were confirmed, and they got married, and they were buried from Knockchapel. We moved further around to the right, and Ardagher, where on top you had Knock School, where my Uncle Martin and my Uncle Willie and my Aunt Stacia and all the Boylan cousins went to school at Knock. And after school they rolled down the hill towards the Boylan household at Keelia, where Pat Peppard is today. And we looked on over to the west, was overlooking Dysart Gallon, where my grandparents, John and Margaret Keys, and my great-grandparents, Richard and Anastasia Cullen, are buried. So I can stand here and say, yes, Thomas Shastu Igartham O'Guina, standing in the very heart of my community. And as we looked that evening from Lisnagowan across the green and fertile valley of the Owen Bay, it brought to mind that great novel, Gone with the Wind, by Mark Mitchell. It was made into a film later on with Clark Gable and Vivian Lee. But the father in that novel, he was speaking to his daughter, Scarlett O'Hara, and he said, Scarlett, as he looked across the green and fertile land of Tara, he said, this is a land worth working for. Matter of fact, he says, it's a land worth fighting for. And as we see in Ukraine today, the good people fighting, this is a land, he said, worth dying for, some would say. So, to quote that great song around here, and it is, but should I die for Ireland's cause, like Emmet and Wolfe Tone, my last long sigh to heaven on high would be for Ballarone. As you all know, this is a great country. Ireland is a great country, and with the skies of Ballarone blue and white, Laois is a great county. I could go on with, and I wanted to say more about Tom and the way attention to detail in his book, but I'm afraid that Vanity says I've said enough. And I don't blame him.